Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about some fear compulsions that we often do. And I think the reason I want to cover this topic is because usually the main compulsion and the only compulsion that is associated with fear is constant rumination, which is true. I mean, that's probably the primary compulsion with fear that takes up the most time because it's really ongoing, and even if we're not actively engaging with our thoughts, it's still going on in the background. So of course there's that. But then there are other outward compulsions related to fear that we are often doing as well, because we're constantly trying to subdue and pacify that feeling of panic, anxiety, and from trying to make sure that our emotions don't boil over, right? Or that our nervous system doesn't get burnt out too much. But before I go on to that, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment on this video, let us know what you think, and let us know if these videos are helpful, because that also helps us shape the direction of the channel. Because I think like the feedback and the suggestions that we've always received on the channel are always the ones that have created a direction for our videos as well. So the first thing that I wanted to cover on that was journaling, and that is a very common compulsion that people do. And I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with journaling, of course, because a lot of people like to document their thoughts, a lot of people like to document their feelings. But for OCD sufferers, we already are obsessively talking about our thoughts and feelings and trying to explain it to people as well, trying to explain it to ourselves as well, and trying to reassure ourselves that no, these are just thoughts, these are just feelings, this is just OCD, this is just fear, none of it is real. That kind of thing can often come out in journaling. And I think, to my earlier point about rumination, I often say that journaling for OCD sufferers is like ruminating out on paper. Like, so you're not mentally ruminating, but you're kind of writing out your entire rumination essentially. And journaling is one of those things, like the other compulsions I'll also talk about, where it is that way of trying to center yourself or ground yourself, which we constantly feel the need to do, because all day long we're feeling so anxious, and all day long we're feeling quite frightful. So we want to feel like, okay, we're trying to calm ourselves down, we're trying to center ourselves down, and it's a subtle form of trying to control our feelings all the time, and that does become compulsive. I've worked with someone, and if she's watching this video, she'll know I'm talking about her. She started off with us doing journaling literally every single day. She couldn't like not journal ever. So when I suggested that she stop journaling, obviously that was something that made her feel very anxious. And but once she stopped, she realized how compulsive it was to try to write down her thoughts and sort out her thoughts on a daily basis. The second thing is meditation again, and this is meditation and mindfulness is an interesting topic for OCD sufferers, because again, nothing inherently wrong with it, but for some people it actually might kind of help release that internal mental control that you're constantly trying to exert, and it helps with that with lowering that barrier towards uncomfortable intrusive thoughts, right? Because part of the process is also to try to allow the thoughts to be there. But for a lot of OCD sufferers, meditation and mindfulness is counterproductive, because number one, you're trying to trying to center yourself, trying to really force a sense of calmness. But then secondly, because you're doing it with the expectation of, okay, I'm going to try to accept things, it kind of becomes a chase, and that trying to look for that particular feeling internally in your mind and in your emotions, to find clarity, to find peace, calm, and tranquility in a sense, right? So, and that's something then because when you don't feel it, then we start to often get agitated or frustrated with the process itself. And then we might also come to the conclusion that because I am unable to get rid of these thoughts, or because I'm unable to feel calm, it might be because my thoughts are actually real, or my concerns and fears are actually real, and that's why my brain is trying to alert me to something. And imagine this, like, our body is literally on high alert, especially if you're suffering in a chronic format. Your body is already on like immensely high alert all the time, and you're in a frenzy mentally. So of course you're going to not feel that great, even when you're meditating and trying to do mindfulness. You're not going to be able to let those thoughts go that easily. The third thing is compulsively trying to spend a lot of me time. So again, this is something I used to do all the time, where if every single day I would want to carve out some me time, every single day I would need a bunch of hours just to myself, because and that's one of the reasons why I would stay up late at night a lot, because that was the only time that I thought I got where everyone had gone to sleep, no one would disturb me, no one would come knocking on my door, I didn't have to do any task, I didn't have to like spend time with people, I could just be with myself, with my thoughts, and just have that me time kind of thing. And it was again my way of centering myself, of being like, okay, I need to restore calm and peace. And when I wouldn't get that at times on certain consecutive days, it would make me kind of be like, oh no, I need to find me time. I need it. This is bad. I need to find that way of like again centering myself, calming myself down, stuff like that. And so it became a very compulsive latching on for me, and it became like an addiction to have me time. I would cancel plans. I would cut conversations short. I would cut phone calls short. I would cut hangouts. If I was hanging out with people, I would cut those short. I would cut family time short. I would do all those things just because I was like, I need just myself in isolation. And so part of what I had to do was, as part of my exposure and trying to break this comfort trap, was to then spend time with people, was to sit around with people or my family, even if I felt quite uncomfortable. Being around friends and family, even if I didn't kind of want to be there. So being in that position to show that I don't need me time, I don't need to center myself every single day, and allowing myself to, as a result, feel uncomfortable and feel anxious. Then it came to, and this is similar to me time as well, having unwinding rituals. So especially when I was suffering terribly from contamination OCD, and I had a day where I was just like, I had been doing compulsions all day long. Especially again at night time, I would need to. I would wake up like extra hours, even though I would be dead tired from doing compulsions and from being anxious all day long. I would spend extra hours at night doing things that kind of made me feel good. And even though I was feeling very emotionally numb, it felt like, it was still like, okay, no, I still need to do it for the sake of it, even if it doesn't make me feel particularly happy or bring me any kind of joy, because I feel emotionally dead. I'm still going to, I don't know, watch like some nice videos on YouTube, or listen to some music, or watch a TV show or something. Like, I need something that would, or like make myself a snack, a midnight snack or something that would kind of make me feel good. And just these like little bits, little things here and there, like anything that would, help restore some peace of mind, or some, like, again, centeredness after doing those activities. So again, that was a very compulsive thing for me to latch on to as well. And so if you are doing this, like, for some people, like, unwinding rituals can be like, oh, every single day I'm going to watch like this episode of the show I'm watching at night after dinner, because that helps me unwind before going to bed. And that can then latch on to sleep related fears as well, that I need to feel centered before going to sleep, I need to feel okay and at peace before I go to bed, because then we want to have like a great deep sleep, because we think if we don't have that, then when we wake up we won't be well rested, we will be experiencing fear still. And again, that fear cycle of that, my nerves won't be rested, I won't be recharged, I won't be I'm trying to look for that other word, I'm forgetting that word, but basically I won't feel revived by morning. So that's also nighttime unwinding rituals are especially quite common amongst OCD sufferers. Then again, this is part of like the previous 2 points, which is watching more feel good stuff. But I want to also link this to fear of feeling sad, depressive, negative feelings as well, because what we always want to do is constantly make ourselves feel good and nice and happy. So we might be watching like we might be doing marathons of Friends or other sitcoms or like Schitt's Creek or something like that on like on these streaming services. Just anything that would make us feel good and nice and like those nice fluffy happy feelings, cozy feelings by watching something like that, right? So we then start to associate that kind of niceness with those things. So and again, and this also ties into our usage of social media as well. Even if you're not watching like a movie or like a show or something, it can also be just scrolling through TikTok or Instagram and just social media in general. So it becomes that addictive feeling of trying to constantly make yourself feel cozy and nice as well. So you will absolutely have to limit screen time and the amount you spend on like again online essentially. So you'll have to detach from that. And the last thing I want to touch on is trying to pace yourself constantly, not putting too many things on your plate, and not overcommitting, and that fear of overcommitment, because it's tied into fear of feeling overwhelmed and feeling burnt out or completely saturated. So again, I think I would try my best not to do more than, I don't know, two plans in a week, or sometimes even just once a week as well, because it felt like way too much effort. It felt like way too much effort to go out, even though I wanted to, but also I was just even thinking about it felt like so much effort, then I wouldn't end up doing anything at all, and I would just be in bed basically, mostly all day, not doing much at all. So, just and or even the act of saying to someone that yes, 5 p.m. works for me for our hangout or meeting, it would give me so much anxiety because it felt like I was trapping myself by committing something in my schedule, right? It felt like I was being cornered, and then I would have nowhere to, like, I wouldn't have wiggle room essentially. So pacing yourself, not overcommitting, not doing too much in a day, trying to just like, if you have a list of like 10 to do things, you'll only do one thing in a day because you'll be like, no, I can't handle it. I'll be too tired by the end of the day. I'll be exhausted. And one of the reasons that you might not want to overcommit is because you might not get enough time before going to bed to unwind then and have a lot of me time as well. So again, it ties into like the previous points as well. So, or you might not get the time to journal during the day. So you want to make sure that your schedule is open for these little bits of relief and comfort for yourself. So yeah, I think these are probably like some of the absolutely main ones with fear, but there can be like small sub versions and is like small iterations of it, like where there can be a lot of just right OCD rituals as well, which tie into fear, and those can be endless. So, but I think these were the main overarching ones that we often see with people that we work with. Things that I also did as well. Things that I know that other people in the WhatsApp groups or people who come in for coaching calls also do. So, yeah, these would have to go. These would have to be cut down significantly, at least while you're in the early stages of your recovery journey. These would probably have to go 90%. You would have to take a big chunk out to eventually later, yes, maybe you can reintroduce them into your routine, but in a very balanced manner. So again, if you're compulsively journaling every single day, you might have to take that out completely 100%, and later, maybe at some point when you're doing much better or when you're recovered, maybe then you can do it like once or twice a week or something like that, again in a balanced manner, not every day. So all these things you would have to then balance out eventually. But I hope this was helpful. I hope this was insightful. I shall do more videos on fear later this week as well. So let us know what you think.